A vital lifeline: U.S. military aid to Ukraine. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has underscored the critical importance of international support, particularly from the United States. Since the Russian invasion in February 2022, U.S. military aid has been a lifeline for Ukraine's defense efforts. This aid has provided crucial weaponry, training and intelligence, enabling Ukraine to resist Russian aggression effectively. However, the recent decision by President Trump to pause this military assistance has sent shockwaves through Ukraine and beyond, raising serious concerns about the future of the conflict and the West's commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty. The U.S. has been a steadfast ally to Ukraine, providing billions of dollars worth of military equipment, including advanced weapon systems that have proven instrumental in countering Russian forces. Javelin anti-tank missiles, HIMARS rocket launchers and Patriot air defense systems, all provided by the U.S., have significantly bolstered Ukraine's defensive capabilities. Beyond the tangible military hardware, U.S. support has also extended to intelligence sharing, logistical assistance, and training for Ukrainian troops, further enhancing their combat effectiveness. This multifaceted support has been vital in enabling Ukraine to withstand the initial onslaught of the Russian invasion and subsequently mount a robust defense, repelling Russian forces from key areas. The impact of U.S. aid is undeniable, and its continued flow is widely perceived as essential for Ukraine's ability to resist Russian aggression. The sudden halt to this crucial support throws Ukraine's future into uncertainty, raising questions about its capacity to sustain its defense operations without consistent access to vital military resources. The implications of this decision extend far beyond the immediate military situation, potentially impacting the geopolitical landscape and the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations. President Trump's decision to pause military aid to Ukraine stems from a complex web of factors, including his personal skepticism of U.S. foreign entanglements, his transactional approach to international relations, and his increasingly warm relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump has repeatedly questioned the value of U.S. support for Ukraine, arguing that it drains American resources and embroils the country in a conflict with no clear endgame. He has also accused European allies of not contributing enough to Ukraine's defense, demanding they shoulder a larger share of the burden. Furthermore, Trump has publicly criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, accusing him of lacking gratitude for U.S. assistance and of being unwilling to negotiate a peace settlement with Russia. These accusations have strained U.S.-Ukraine relations and created an atmosphere of distrust between the two leaders. Adding to the complexity is Trump's evident rapport with Putin, whom he has praised on multiple occasions. Trump's reluctance to criticize Russia's actions in Ukraine and his willingness to engage in direct negotiations with Putin without involving Ukraine or European allies have fueled speculation about his motives for pausing aid. Some observers believe that Trump sees Ukraine as a bargaining chip in his dealings with Putin, potentially offering concessions on Ukraine in exchange for Russian cooperation on other issues, such as arms control or Iran. This transactional approach to foreign policy has raised concerns among many in the U.S. and abroad, who fear that Trump is prioritizing his own personal relationships and political calculations over U.S. national interests and the security of its allies. To fully grasp the potential ramifications of the U.S. aid pause, it's crucial to examine the scale of U.S. military assistance to Ukraine since the conflict began. From February 2022 to March 2025, the U.S. Congress has appropriated approximately $86 billion in military aid for Ukraine, a testament to the bipartisan support for Ukraine in its struggle against Russian aggression. However, it's important to note that appropriations and actual disbursements are distinct. Of the total appropriated amount, only $20.2 billion has been disbursed as of March 2025. The remaining funds are tied up in various stages of the disbursement process, with $28.6 billion committed, planned usage announced, and $34.2 billion obligated, contracts signed. An additional $2.7 billion has expired. This discrepancy between appropriations and disbursements highlights the complex bureaucratic processes involved in delivering military aid, which often involve lengthy contract negotiations, logistical challenges, and congressional oversight. The aid pause announced by President Trump directly impacts the undisbursed funds, potentially delaying or halting the delivery of crucial military equipment to Ukraine. This delay could have a significant impact on Ukraine's ability to sustain its defense operations, particularly if it disrupts the flow of essential munitions and spare parts for existing weapon systems. While the $20.2 billion already dispersed provides a degree of breathing room, the long-term viability of Ukraine's defense efforts hinges on the continued and timely delivery of the remaining committed and obligated aid. In light of the U.S. aid pause, the spotlight now falls on Europe and Ukraine's own domestic arms industry to potentially fill the void and ensure the continued flow of essential military supplies. European nations, particularly those bordering Russia, have a vested interest in supporting Ukraine's defense, as a Russian victory would have significant security implications for the entire continent. While European countries have collectively provided a substantial amount of military aid to Ukraine, roughly equivalent to U.S. contributions, there are concerns about their capacity to fully compensate for a prolonged U.S. aid freeze. European defense budgets, already strained by years of underfunding, would need significant increases to meet Ukraine's growing needs. Furthermore, European arms manufacturers, accustomed to peacetime production levels, would require time to ramp up production to meet the surge in demand for weapons and ammunition. Despite these challenges, European leaders have expressed their commitment to continuing and potentially increasing their support for Ukraine. At a security summit in London on March 2, 2025, European leaders discussed providing security guarantees for Ukraine and ensuring a steady stream of weapons. Concrete steps have already been taken, such as the UK's announcement of a £1.6 billion deal to supply Ukraine with 5,000 air defense missiles. Another potential avenue for funding Ukraine's defense is the utilization of frozen Russian central bank assets, estimated at approximately $300 billion. However, this proposal faces legal and political hurdles, with some countries, notably France, expressing reservations. In addition to external support, Ukraine has made significant strides in bolstering its domestic arms production. Ukrainian factories are now producing approximately 40% of the country's military needs, primarily focusing on drones, electronic warfare systems, and artillery. This increased domestic production, while commendable, still leaves Ukraine heavily reliant on external partners for sophisticated weaponry and advanced technologies. The U.S. aid pause, while concerning, does not necessarily spell disaster for Ukraine's defense. However, it underscores the need for a multi-pronged approach that involves increased European support, accelerated domestic arms production in Ukraine, and the exploration of innovative financing mechanisms, such as the utilization of frozen Russian assets.